The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Hi, good evening to all our viewers and listeners, whether watching us on Hot 7 TV, whether listening on Kiss FM, or you're following us on live stream. A special welcome to this episode of Like It Is for today, 24 February 2025. I hope you had yourself an enjoyable Independence weekend and that you're fully rejuvenated and ready and raring to go for this week. I have for you a very interesting program where we're going to touch on a number of subjects. And of course, as always and as usual, we will have a segment where you will be allowed to call in so that you can have your opportunity to tell it like it is. If you've been following the program, you would know that we normally start off with our special segment of SLP, which is the segment that has to do with secret, lies, and propaganda, the ways of our current government. And before we go into the segment, there is this quote that I like to read to you, a quote by none other than Albert Einstein, which goes like this: "Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters." And we are learning that more and more on a daily basis from our current government. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go right into the action tonight. We're going to start off with the special segment, SLP.
So when will it be? When will we see them guys euphoria? When will they stop to Mama Kai? Practice this sit and blatantly lie. Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, it is sad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a situation in this country today where the issue, the scourge of crime and violence in this country is inescapable. Even if it has become commonplace now where it hardly makes the news, but it is a reality of life that is with us, and it is one that we cannot allow to become normalized to the extent that we become immune to it. Now, last week, I spoke to you and presented to you some clips and some information on a special report that is the impacts report that had to do with the investigations carried out after Operation Restore Confidence some 12 or more years ago. And I brought to you some startling revelations, which, of course, explains to some of us why, to a certain extent, we are in a situation of criminality that we are facing today. And we know that crime, if facilitated, only festers and gets worse. However, I recall a recent statement by the Prime Minister on the issue of the impacts report. And the Prime Minister was lamenting the fact that the impacts report had become his cross. And why should it be his cross? Prime Minister, I just want to remind you once again, you asked for the job. Now you have the job, do the job. And so, Mr. Prime Minister, let us not forget the bluffs you pulled on St. Lucians. I remember one of your lines was that, "I am the most readied Prime Minister." So how come you're not ready for that? You will have to deal with it. But let me start off SLP this evening with clip number 1, where we're going to hear from the Prime Minister himself.
Why all suddenly the impacts report has become my cross? was there before me. It was there for the last 5 years. They had it for the last 5 years. all the contents of the impact report and all the action that has to be taken on the impact report could have been done in the last 5 years.
So, Mr. Prime Minister, the question to you is that why you have done nothing about the impacts report? Because you felt everything that should have been done about it should have been done in the last 5 years? And I rather get a hint, a suggestion in your statement that you seem to be implying that nothing was done in the last 5 years. Now, if that is so, that is not right. But whether or not that is so, it is your responsibility today as Prime Minister and Minister of National Security to deal with the situation. I know it's not a comfortable situation for you, sir, but it is your baby that you have to deal with. So if you consider it to be a cross, it is your cross to bear. And so, you know, talking about what was done in the last 5 years, and it started in the last 5 years. It didn't start in the last 5 years, sir. You were part of the administration that gave birth to the investigation that led to the impacts report. And you were not just there, you were high up, second in command at the time, and it is your government, the SLP government, that initiated that impacts investigation and got that report. And of course, what has to be done as a result of that report, it is part of your responsibility. And now that you're Minister of National Security and in fact Prime Minister, yes, it is your cross to bear. So, I want to read to you, sir, in case you have any doubts, a quote that was sent to me that I thought very interesting, that I want to share with our Prime Minister in particular. And this is a quote by Andy Sibel, and it goes like this. It is government's responsibility to do whatever is necessary to prevent crime, as well as to arrest and prosecute those who commit crime. If a government is perceived as aiding and abetting crime by not providing adequate deterrence to crime, such government automatically becomes part of the problem. So, rather than deal with the crime situation, you are complaining that it has become your cross. If you are not doing anything, sir, I will quote that final section again. Your government automatically becomes part of the problem. And that is a very interesting quote, okay? Because your government must not be seen to be aiding and abetting crime. And so, that is a very interesting quote that I want you to bear in mind before you complain, before you try to dish out blame like you normally do, and before you start to cast aspersions like you normally do. Now, before you, sir, there was the Alan Chasney-led administration, and Alan Chasney would have inherited from the St. Lucia Labour Party that situation after that impacts investigation had been done and the report was submitted to your SLP government. Chasney, upon assuming government, would have inherited it. And of course, I always say, government continues. And once you assume the reins of government, you have to take the responsibilities of government. So it was Alan Chasney and his administration who became responsible for doing what was necessary in dealing with the impacts report. But my question is, did they do anything, as you might want to suggest, that they did nothing? And that is what I am interested in. Now, let me just quote to you some of the things that Alan Chasney would tell you that he did, that I know he did. When Alan Chasney became Prime Minister of St. Lucia, he inherited a situation where there was no DPP. A very important post, but it was not filled. There was no DPP. So he proceeded as soon as possible to appoint a DPP. Okay, he started the formation of the Border Control Agency, and I know he was gung-ho about that, pushing very hard to put in place a special agency for border control, which the intention was that it would make our borders less porous, in so doing to, stem the tide of drugs coming in and guns coming in illegally. There was also equipment and staff provided to the police force, and not to mention the boats for the Marine unit and all of that. They were provided with equipment and additional staff, just as is being done now, and you're making a big song and dance about it, Prime Minister. That was also done. The forensic lab was commissioned, because we had a forensic lab that was closed. It was commissioned, and of course not just opened, but ensured that it met the requisite international standard to be licensed. We also provided assistance to the DPP's office, whether it be staff or equipment, to strengthen the office. And, of course, I know that the Prime Minister dealt with the impact report, because it is said that there are some 25 recommendations in the impact report. Among them are certain things that had to be done with the police, certain things that had to be done with the inconclusive evidence and so on. I know for a fact that further forensic testing and investigation were done, and a few other things. But what else was done? Now let me just not quote to you as a member of the United Workers' Party. Let me not quote to you what Alan Chasney has said he has done. But a DPP, after being appointed, is supposed to be independent, and Mr. Dashian Green was appointed DPP, and he has held a couple press conferences, and it would be interesting to hear what he had to say in one of the press conferences as to whether or not he was getting any support from the government. I think in the next clip you're going to hear a very interesting proposal that was made by the DPP, and it's a proposal that I support, and it has to do with the investigation of police officers. Now, at the moment we have police investigating police, which of course does not make much sense, and so he was calling for an independent agency to investigate. But let me let you listen to Mr. Green himself in clip number 3.
Having reviewed the instances of police shootings or police-related shootings in this state from October of 2016, when I took office, there was clearly and remains a need for the establishment of an independent agency to undertake these investigations. This, I find, as in other jurisdictions, promotes transparency and public confidence in an agency that is separate from the police force and therefore not under the command of any authority. The formation of this Special Investigations Unit or agency was recommended to the government of St. Lucia, and I am aware that Cabinet Conclusion number 120, dated the 8th of February 2021, approved its formation and was passed on to the Office of the Attorney General for the necessary action. To date, I can advise that this agency has not been formalized, and the investigators are still under the command of the Commissioner of Police. I sincerely hope that its formation, based on the advantages outlined above, will still be effected in the near future.
Yes, so you just heard the DPP. He in fact admitted that the Alan Chasney-led administration did take the matter to Cabinet and approve the formation of a special investigating agency that would investigate the police. But that was in February of 2021. So, of course, as with everything else, things with government takes time, but it is almost 4 years later, or thereabout. I'm asking, what has happened 4 years later? Why that special investigating unit or agency that was recommended, that was approved by the Alan Chasney administration, has not been formalized by the Philip Pierre administration? That is a question for you, sir, because the cross is yours to bear. Is there a reason why you have forgone that responsibility of putting in place that special investigating unit that would investigate the police, that would be more independent and perhaps carry out the instructions that they were given, as opposed to what might be very suspicious on the part of the police investigating the police? That is the question that I want to ask. But before we go any further, I want a totally independent view as to whether or not the Alan Chasney-led administration did anything to ameliorate the situation in terms of pursuing what was recommended in the impacts report. And of course, you know that the Americans took action against us and imposed the Leahy law on us because they felt we were doing nothing about it. Let us hear from the U.S. ambassador to St. Lucia as to what she thinks, whether she was satisfied that any progress was being made or anything was being done. Clip number 3, please.
And based on a statement from the U.S. government and even I think the EU back in 2015-ish, that direct quote here, there was no meaningful progress as far as the impacts investigation was concerned. Here we are in 2021. Have you seen signs of some sort of meaningful progress towards prosecution of that matter?
I think I would have to agree we have. There was an impacts report. There was a group from Jamaica who came in and did an investigation and review of the extrajudicial killings, alleged killings back in 2015. They made 25 recommendations on how to improve the police force and what things needed to be tightened up. St. Lucia has moved forward and then implemented a number of those recommendations, and in that way they have improved and moved forward. I think that they have looked very carefully at their units and the structure of them, which has allowed us to free up several units within the police force. So yes, they have made progress. They still need to continue to move forward with that progress.
Yes, so there you just heard an independent view as to what has happened, and you heard the ambassador say that St. Lucia has moved forward and they have made progress. And of course, it is independent because you heard the person who asked the question. In case you didn't recognize him, that was Riani who asked the question of the U.S. ambassador. So people who had nothing to do with the United Workers' Party for sure. And so I'm satisfied that the Alan Chasney-led administration did in fact pursue their responsibilities as far as the impacts report was concerned, and they did some of the things that were required, that were recommended. Of course, government continues, and it was for Philip J. Pierre to continue the work that had started in doing what was recommended, so that 1, the matter would be resolved, 2, the Leahy law would be relaxed on St. Lucia totally, and 3, that the good name of St. Lucia would be cleared. So, when you, sir, are casting aspersions and making allegations and insinuations, look in the mirror, because we are here to debunk all the lies and the propaganda. So this, ladies and gentlemen, was SLP for this edition of Like It Is.
Lie, you hear lie? Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die. Why, sir?
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our 4 corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
The man, square leg. That will do it. 8 scores of 200 or more for Brian Lara. Usain Bolt storming through. He takes it again. Blake gets the silver. Play of the day for the Heat. Darren Jones.
Unforgettable moments in sports. Sports classics during the Hot 7 Nightly News.
In times of grief, Hot 7 TV and Hot FM are here to support you. We offer deaf announcement packages for both radio and television at affordable prices. In fact, when you choose to place a deaf announcement on Hot FM with more than 2 airings, you will receive a free Tele-Ubitry on Hot 7 TV. At Hot FM and Hot 7 TV, we understand the pain and difficulty you are experiencing during this time of bereavement, and we are committed to helping you in any way we can. On Hot FM, deaf announcements are broadcast from Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. On Hot 7 TV, they are aired on weekdays at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. and on Sundays immediately following the live broadcast of the church service at the Barbono Good Shepherd Catholic Church with Father Albert. If you are in need of such services, we are here for you. Contact us at 452-6040.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our 4 corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners. Welcome to our second segment of Like It Is for tonight, 24th February 2025. And tonight we have, like I told you, a packed program. We are going to deal with quite a few issues. And of course, you will be given the opportunity to call in and to weigh in, to tell it like it is. But before I do, let me just say that over the Independence weekend, I noticed that the police seemed few in numbers. I'm hoping that you all are okay, police officers. How are you all doing out there? Are you all okay? I'm hoping so, certainly. And, you know, well, I'm hearing all kinds of rumors and news and, you know, the level of disrespect that is being meted out to you. Officers, you do a good job. Most of you, the majority of you do a very good job. And I'm hoping that now that negotiations are on, that you'll be justly rewarded and not have anybody shoved down your throat what they determine is what you deserve, but as opposed to what ought to be, where negotiations between the two parties, your representative body and government negotiating team, ought to take place and for you to come to an agreement. I'm also hearing rumblings from the NWU, despite the fact that the Prime Minister has gone and said that, you know, payments have been made and negotiations went smoothly and all of that. Again, you know, you cannot lie to people all the time. You cannot fool people when they know otherwise, when they know differently. And you need to stop the lies. And, you know, perhaps next week we will have something on this in our segment of Secret Lies and Propaganda. And just some brief news for you. You might have heard that during the course of last week, the leader of the opposition filed a case against the CIP unit and the minister responsible for CIP. And that was all in, including a request for an injunction, and that was all in an effort to recover our funds that have gone astray, and we know not to whom or where it has gone. And when we're talking about funds, we're talking about billions of dollars that is not being accounted for. And the more we ask the question, we are not being given the answers. So, on our behalf, the leader of the opposition has done the right thing to go to the courts to compel the government to give an account and to have the CIP unit tell us exactly what is happening with our CIP money, with the sale of our passports. I also want to congratulate the United Workers' Party. Over the weekend, they had their delegates conference in Marigot, And it is my understanding that it was a very well attended and well conducted and successful gathering. But I am honestly more interested in the coming Sunday, next Sunday, March the 2nd. The party is having its annual convention in Dennery. And of course, the real big event, there is a rally taking place, a massive meeting taking place in Lakai from 6:30 p.m. or from 6 p.m. I think it is, or 6:30 p.m., where the party, among other things, will be naming or presenting some of their candidates. And that is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot miss it. You will want to be there. Of course, please go out there and see and hear for yourself firsthand. And the following day, the Monday, we will have our discussion on the matter here on Like It Is. And so as we go into section 2, you know, the Prime Minister clearly takes no responsibility and does not want to be blamed for the current crime situation in this country. Of course, he does not think that it is his cross to bear, but I say to you, Prime Minister, it is your cross, carry it. Now, before I go further along this line, allow me to read to you the following. And I invite you, after I've read what I am about to read to you, for you to guess who uttered those words. Here goes. It is regrettable that we have had a wall-to-wall breakdown of discipline in our country. When people holding high office can impugn others, not only from political platforms, but also from the privileged house, that is the House of Assembly, isn't that sending the wrong signal to our very young and impressionable nation? That someone quoted that. I want you in the end to tell me who said this. And the individual also said this about the police this time. They have not learned the lesson of personal discipline, let alone discretion in pursuance of their duty. The force is so heavily politicized. I suspect that if an officer approaches you, you simply have to flash the right party membership card and they will let you go about your business. In case you're wondering who spoke these words, let me put you out of your misery, ladies and gentlemen. It is the same individual who said on television that the police supplied him with all kinds of information about private citizens. And he had files big like this. Files big so. Okay? And he uttered the words in Parliament in April 2007. Those were the words of Richard Frederick El Guapo. Hard to believe, isn't it? This is the same individual, ladies and gentlemen, who demeans those he believes who have health shortcomings or who may have physical handicaps. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Philip Pierre's right-hand man, the one he chose as his spokesman, the Labour Party's main henchman, Richard Frederick, also known as El Guapo. He is the one who made those utterances. What a sick joke. Richard Frederick talking about police indiscipline. Richard Frederick complaining about people who use their platforms and their house privilege to impugn private citizens. Isn't that like vice preaching virtue? Isn't that a case of pot calling kettle black? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the gentleman who goes on television and calls out the name of private citizens, of individuals, call them thugs and call them criminals, and threaten to show their pictures on television. This is the same gentleman who calls out private individuals and parades their record on television, using his privileged position to access personal confidential information on individuals. This is the same individual who abuses women on a regular basis. This is the same individual who makes all kinds of allegations and accusations about people without giving a shred of evidence. And today, you are making those statements. How interesting. How interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, we are not so easily fooled anymore, because we are getting to the bottom of all the lies and the bluffs. You know, talking about dealing with crime or perceived criminal activity or corruption at a different level. I want to take a look at crime at a different level. You know, instead of having ministers go on television and call ordinary individuals thugs and criminals, castigate women, tell lies about the dead, abuse individuals and show their records on television, let us look at crime at a different level. And I want to start with the Prime Minister. So please play for me clip number 4 to show the Prime Minister in Parliament talking about the Special Prosecutor's Bill.
If you entered politics, and let's say you had a minibus, and within that term of office, Mr. Speaker, you found yourself with what? A plane? No. And you found yourself within that term of office, you find yourself with a 4-story building with an elevator. And when you entered office, everybody can see what you entered office with. Use me as an example. Everyone see what I entered office with. I still live the same place. That's what I entered office with. Anybody can see. But if you enter, and after 4 years, before you were there, you had a minibus. And because you know how to use money, after 4 years, Mr. Speaker, you have these vivid signs of wealth. Somebody should ask you, where did you get that money from?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I fully agree with Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre as far as what he said in this clip. I agree that if after 4 years you have vivid signs of wealth, according to him, somebody should ask you where you get that money from. So, well, I'm not the only one who seemed to agree with you, Prime Minister. Some people, after 3.5 years, are asking Kenson Kazimi, one of your ministers, the parliamentary representative for Grozile, where he get that money from. They cited a number of properties that he has acquired over the last 3.5 years, and they are asking the question that you deem necessary, you deem justified. However, to the best of my knowledge, Kenson Kazimi has not answered the question. So even your Prime Minister thinks that it is a legitimate question. I too think it is a legitimate question. For your benefit and for the benefit of the general public whom you serve, please come out, clear the air, clarify the matter, and explain to the public where and how you have acquired and accumulated such mammoth wealth in the space of 3.5 years. Now, you may be wondering, in case you missed my previous shows where we were speaking on this issue, what exactly was the people talking about, the people who are asking the question. Let me show you clip number 5 so you can get an idea, so you can have a picture of what they are talking about. Here we are seeing Kenson Kazimi's house that has grown over the last 3.5 years and expanded to include 3 additional villas. Here we are seeing a property in a Cap Estate where 5 condos are being built. So the property, the land was purchased and 5 condos are being built on the land. The people are asking, where does all that wealth come from? I'm not suggesting anything untoward, sir. We are just asking, tell us where you get it. It could be inheritance, it could be your hard-earned sweat and toil, it could be a gift, whatever it is. And here you have a good-looking 4-door pickup, 4-wheel drive. That also belongs to the minister. something he has acquired in the last 3.5 years, and the people want to know, where did you get it? So Kenson Kazimi, tell us where you get it. Just as when you were in opposition, you were asking that question, the question is now being asked of you, sir. Answer the question. And I think you have had more than enough time. You have had more than enough time to answer those questions. You should not have any difficulties in telling the public where you got the money from, according to the Prime Minister. In fact, I would want you to know what Kenson Kazimi himself thinks about all of this. Play clip number 6 for me, and let's hear his statement in Parliament during that same debate on the special prosecutor.
We have been so focused on blue-collar crime, crimes including murder, theft, traffic violations, while white-collar crime goes unchecked, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, white-collar crimes including corruption, government corruption, fraud, money laundering, embezzlement seem to take a back seat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this has been dangerous to our nation.
Yes, let us not allow white-collar crime to go unchecked. And so if there is any suspicion, let us ask the questions. And when the questions are asked, Mr. Kazimi, provide the answers to satisfy us, to give us the assurance, to provide us with the comfort that there is nothing untoward and what you are engaged in is in fact not white-collar crime. Answer the question. And so, ladies and gentlemen, still on the subject of property. You know, while ministers of the SLP government are flashing fancy, affluent houses, what is being done for our citizens is the question that I ask. Now, you'll tell me that is a question more appropriately directed at the Minister of Housing, Richard Frederick, better known as El Guapo. You know, in his usual chest-beating, boastful bravado, in one of his tirades, he claimed that he is, in fact, the hardest working minister who has set foot on St. Lucian soil. Okay? I'm not one to quickly dismiss or easily dismiss what they say. But like it is, did a little probing to ascertain whether that claim has any merit and what it is that he has done to claim that he is so hard at work. We discovered in the process, ladies and gentlemen, a housing project complements the hard-working Minister of Housing. And I want to put it on display, clip number 7. This is the housing, one of the housing projects that the minister is hard working on, and that is a housing project in Dennery. You know, imagine that. Now, the Prime Minister, who was at the ceremony when they were handing over those houses, had this to say about the housing project. He said, "This is not housing for people. That is what is done for the poorest of the poor." So before you call the program later an attack, the Prime Minister has already told you that is not housing for people. Okay? And there again, tonight I find myself agreeing with the Prime Minister quite a lot. I agree with the Prime Minister. That is not housing for people. Because like I said the last time I showed those pictures, I have some houses on my farm for rabbits, for chicken, and for goats. The only thing those houses have on it is that they're painted. That's the only thing those houses have on them. And I agree, these are not houses for people. But, Mr. Prime Minister, one thing I just want to correct you on. The poor, too, are people. So when you're building structures that are not for people, do not insult, degrade, or disrespect poor people by giving them houses that are not meant for people. Now, if you believe for a moment that the Minister of Housing cannot do any better than those houses you see there, because I like to be fair, because you all of you will watch this program tonight and you'll go away with the impression that that's the best the minister can do. I say no. Give Jack his jacket. Let me show you another clip that will demonstrate to you that the minister can do a lot better than this. Let's show you another housing project that is being done by the Minister of Housing. So let's go to clip number 8, please. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, clip number 8. You see here a massive structure. But before we go any further, you notice there's a luxury vehicle parked by that structure. Do you recognize the number plate? The license plate on that vehicle, ladies and gentlemen, tells a story. Your guess is as good as mine. Do you know who that house belonged to? Certainly. It is for somebody. These are the kind of houses they build for people. That belongs to the housing minister. That is what he's hard at work doing. That is what he's busy doing, while he's also working hard on the housing projects that are not for people in Dennery. That is the SLP government for you and what they think about you. It is about self-aggrandizement. It is about self-promotion. It is the accumulation of wealth for themselves while they give you the crumbs, the worst, that not even deserving of humans. That is what happens. Now, you see, it all depends on who you are building for. And, you know, I just want to say that, however, while our ministers are doing fine in the area of housing, while our ministers are doing fine in the areas of housing, I show you what they have there that is not for people and is for the poorest of the poor. But I have no choice but to bring to your attention something that I've highlighted on this program before, and I'm going to highlight it again, and I'm going to continue to do it until the authorities take heed and do something about it. Because you all can build all those luxury villas, condos, and apartments for yourselves. You can do better for the people of St. Lucia, especially when you're getting resources that are meant for the people for that purpose. I want to show you the conditions under which people are living close to my home in Casaba, in the constituency where the Minister of Housing is building his mansion, in the constituency where the Minister of Housing lives, in the constituency where his protege represents, where his protege is building condos, you know, and villas. There, I want you to see the contrast between the haves who are in office and those who are not considered to be people. Show me clip number 10, please. Number 9. Clip number 9. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are two young gentlemen who live in those homes. They are not totally, you know, normal individuals. They are challenged. The name of those individuals are Aaron and Alex, and they have to crawl because that building has become so dilapidated that it actually collapsed. It actually collapsed, and they have to crawl to go under that building for them to rest their head, and that is where they reside. I know for sure Alex is still living in that building. I want to bring that to the attention of the Minister of Housing. I want to bring that to the attention of his protege, the representative for the constituency of Grosile. You are deserving of all your condos and villas and big apartments. At least you can build something decent for those individuals so that they too can have a decent shelter over their head, and that we cannot have that kind of squalor where people actually live in. Okay? So I am going to continue to highlight it unless you do something about it, and until you do something about it, I am going to continue to harp on it. That is unacceptable. That cannot pass. While you and your colleagues, Minister of Housing, you and your protege are engaging in all kinds of affluence, engaging in self-aggrandizement, while the people in Dennery and the people in Grosile have to live under those conditions. Unacceptable. That, I think, is inhumane. That, I think, is subhuman, and something must be done about it. But then again, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I must confess, it is no big surprise to me. Because you see, we the citizens take our lead from the top, and the people from the top take the lead from their leader. The leader is Philip J. Pierre, the Prime Minister, and he sets the tone for everything. Let us hear what the philosophy of the St. Lucia Labour Party actually is, as espoused by the political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, who is currently our Prime Minister. Clip number 10, please.
Anybody who tells you about country first hour, self first and country. Anybody who tells you about country first hour, self first and country.
So you heard it. You heard for yourself. It is self first, and then they will see about you. So you will have a long wait until they are satisfied that they have dealt with themselves first. That is when they may look to see about your plight. What a sad state of affairs. That was not the mantra during the campaign. That was not the mantra during the campaign. And today, you all spoke during the campaign about all kinds of corruption and everything. Today, you all are in office. And you all don't know what accountability is. You all do not know what transparency is. You all are being accused of all kinds of corruption, and you all are refusing to answer questions. But that, too, will come to an end. Because you see, the leader of the opposition, I suspect, has become tired of asking WTF as far as CIP is concerned, and so he has filed for an injunction, and he has taken the CIP unit to court. There, they must provide answers. Well, I'm telling you tonight, like it is, fans, I'm saying so tonight, during the course of this week, I am going to take the Prime Minister's advice, because the Prime Minister puts a fast bluff on us. During the time when they were in opposition, oh, Guy Joseph is corrupt, Alan Chastney is corrupt, UWP is corrupt. And when we get in there, we're going to send them to jail and all that kind of thing. When they got in there was no jail for Alan Chastney, no jail for Guy Joseph, no jail for anybody in the UWP. People are asking, well, when are those guys going to jail? And, Guy can be a mischievous fellow sometimes, Guy makes a point about, look me, I am here, and he's announcing where he is to them, and they can't do anything about it. But you know what? They launched another Linquist investigation on Guy, and that is how many years now? They are paying him $30,000. I don't know if it's a week, I don't know if it's a fortnight, I don't know if it's a month. $30,000 is being paid to Linquist. We can't hear a thing about that up to now. And to compound it, they went ahead and pulled another bluff on us and appointed a special investigator. And then, now people from UWP in trouble, because we have a special investigator who's going to go after them and uncover all the corruption and send them to jail. Well, my desk is cluttered. The desk you see in front of me here right now is cluttered compared to that of the special investigator. When the people ask about what is being done by the special investigator, to whom their tax dollars are going every month, the Prime Minister responded by telling you, if you have a case, bring it to him. As far as I'm concerned, one panic case, if you have a case, bring it to him. What a bluff. Well, you know what? I take people at their word sometimes. So you know what? Kenson, I'm putting you on notice. During the course of this week, I am bringing a case to the special prosecutor, and I will ask him to investigate you, Kenson, as to where you have gotten your newly accumulated wealth, that meteoric rise you have made as far as wealth is concerned, that the people are asking you about and you're refusing to answer, I'm going to put the ball squarely in the court of the special prosecutor so that he can investigate you and so that you will have to give answers as to how you came about having all of those properties, those affluent properties, in the space of 3.5 years. That is what your Prime Minister suggests and recommends, and according to your own advice, if white-collar crime is not investigated and prosecuted, then blue-collar crime will fester. And we have enough blue-collar crime going on. We have to stop the white-collar crime for us to tackle the blue-collar crime. So I'm saying, I'm not accusing you of anything, but since you refuse to voluntarily provide us with the information, I will have to take steps a la your Prime Minister's advice and write to the special prosecutor indicating to him that there is suspicion and questions are being asked and that he should investigate where you get it from. Now, it is not lost on me that you all allowed 1 year, almost 1 year to go by without constituting an integrity commission. That is not lost on me. The question is why. But time is a great healer. Time is also a great revealer. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have touched on those issues tonight. And do not think that these are not issues that directly concerns you, directly affects you. Because, like Kenson indicated, when there is crime or criminal activity at the top, when there's corruption in high places, and it is not addressed, that makes the people, ordinary man, feel justified in the perpetration of crime at his level, and he feels that he can do it with impunity, because if it can be done at the top, so can it be at the bottom, and he feels justified in doing it. So since we want to wipe out crime, we want to stamp out the rampant crime situation that is taking place in St. Lucia, especially with the kind of gruesome murders that we are seeing these days, we have to start somewhere. And my humble suggestion, let us start from the top. So, Prime Minister, investigate the claims that were made in the impacts report, allow for further investigation, and further investigation as suggested by the DPP requires that certain police officers be brought in for questioning. My question is, why isn't that being done? If the police, and quite understandably so, are reluctant to pursue their own, the DPP has a solution that I think is workable. Set up, as was approved by the United Workers' Party government under Alan Chasney, a special investigative agency that will investigate the police and carry out the suggestion of the DPP. That would be a body that is not under the authority or direction of anyone, that would be independent, and at least we would be more satisfied. We would be more satisfied that there is fairness and there is justice being done, and let us have the situations that exist where the questions arise, let them come to their full conclusion and let the axe fall where it may. That is your responsibility, Mr. Prime Minister, your cross to carry. And as Kenson suggested to you, deal with corruption at the top. Let us uncover all the white-collar crimes. So, and you can start by satisfying us there is no such activities taking place in your government. And since there are questions being asked, subject your ministers to the scrutiny. Let the special prosecutor investigate. So, if you're not doing it, I will do it. I am going to write to the special prosecutor this week, asking him to investigate your minister, Kenson Kazemi, so that the people's question could be answered as to where he got it from. So, if you got it from inheritance, let us know. If it was a gift, let us know. And if it was a gift, by the way, the Integrity Commission should have that on record, because as far as I recall from having been a parliamentarian, anything you get worth $500 or more has to be declared. So, let's see how that works out. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I will give you more time than I did last time. In fact, last time we hardly allowed you time for calls because we started late. But I'll give you some more time tonight for calling in. So I think I will proceed and open the lines right now to permit you to call in, to weigh in on the discussions that we're having right now. But we'll take a short break before I do so. And when we come back, you will have an opportunity to call in and tell it like it is, have your say on the subjects that I have discussed. Please stay tuned.
In sports. Sports classics during the Hot 7 Nightly News.
In times of grief, Hot 7 TV and Hot FM are here to support you. We offer deaf announcement packages for both radio and television at affordable prices. In fact, when you choose to place a deaf announcement on Hot FM with more than 2 airings, you will receive a free telemetry on Hot 7 TV. At Hot FM and Hot 7 TV, we understand the pain and difficulty you are experiencing during this time of bereavement, and we are committed to helping you in any way we can. On Hot FM, deaf announcements are broadcast from Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. On Hot 7 TV, they are aired on weekdays at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. and on Sundays immediately following the live broadcast of the church service at the Barbono Good Shepherd Catholic Church with Father Albert. If you are in need of such services, we are here for you. Contact us at 452-6040.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our 4 corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Like It Is. And in this segment, we are going to be opening up the lines to you so that you can make your calls. I just want to remind you in a moment of our number. I'm trying to get the number for you. I always have a problem with my little slip and my numbers here. Okay, that is it. On WhatsApp, ladies and gentlemen, you can call us on 284-3499. And on our landline, it is 450-0777. And those of you who are watching on Hot 7 TV, Kiss FM, Hot Caribbean TV, or UWP Facebook, you can call in. Now is your opportunity to tell it like it is. In a moment, we'll be opening up the line. But I just want to go back on some of the things that I was discussing, talking about crime. You know, it is very interesting because, you know, we see some trends taking place in our own government. And, you know, it begs the question. You know, Kenny Anthony actually warned us a long time ago, back in 2006, about Richard Frederick. Well, of course, most of us didn't listen. And now the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, is ensuring that we pay the price for having not listened, because he has handpicked Richard Frederick and made him a cabinet member. Now, I ask myself, why is it that Philip J. Pierre has shown more loyalty to Richard Frederick than he has to Kenny Anthony? Because he knew that Dr. Anthony would not sit in a cabinet with Richard Frederick, and he didn't give a damn. He brought Richard Frederick in, which means that Dr. Anthony will be out. So in other words, he chose Richard Frederick over Dr. Kenny Anthony. That is where his loyalty lies, and he makes no bones about it. You know, Richard dropped a bomb on us on his program, Can I Con You, or something to that effect, some time ago, last week. He said that if Philip J. Pierre were to form his own party, and he's so tied to Philip J. Pierre that he would abandon the Labour Party and follow Philip J. Pierre. So I'm hoping that King is hearing him. Honestly, this guy. I'm hoping that King is hearing him. Sean, I'm hoping that you're hearing that. Musa, Alva, I hope you all are hearing this. Okay? The loyalty Richard has is to Philip Pierre, not to the Labour Party. And hence the reason why he has shown no discretion. He has shown no compunctions about damaging the St. Lucia Labour Party. And I am assuring you, Richard does not give a hoot about bringing all of you down, if that suits him. Because he will not hesitate to throw you all under the bus. He will not hesitate to do what suits him and what is best for him. Like he has told you, he will follow Philip J. Pierre, because it is Philip J. Pierre who has single-handedly handpicked him, shown more loyalty to him than he has to Kenny Anthony. And if Philip J. Pierre is showing more loyalty to Richard Frederick than he does to Kenny Anthony, the rest of you in the party should know that El Guapo is more of an asset to the Prime Minister than all of you put together. So just bear that in mind. And so I am opening up the line right now. Once again, our numbers, I'm going to call it out once again on WhatsApp. You can call us on 284-3499. You can also send us WhatsApp messages. And the landline is 450-0777. And so tonight, we are dealing with the issues head on. The Prime Minister called on the public to supply the special prosecutor with evidence against the people that he, the Prime Minister, and Richard Frederick spent years accusing of crimes, like Guy Joseph and the others. Today, you have your special prosecutor. You have more than a 2/3 majority where you can put in all the laws that you want. You can even change the Constitution. You all cannot find a thread of evidence. Now that you all are challenged and asked, because I heard one of your supporters ask you at a town hall meeting, why hasn't anything been done? And you know what the response was, ladies and gentlemen? If you have evidence and you have a case, bring it to the special prosecutor. I think we have our first caller for tonight. Caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead, make your contribution, and tell it like it is.
Yes, good evening. Let me ask a question. Hypothetically, with all what you have said there about Richard Frederick and the Labour Party and what have you, and this something that we have been hearing before and over and over and over. But I mean, he was in your cabinet and all the things have been said about him, and you all embraced him. He was there with you all for 5 years.
Okay, caller, could you just repeat? Could you slow down a little? I'm not hearing you clearly. What was the last thing you said?
I'm saying, with all of what you have said there, we're speaking hypothetically.
It's hypothetical?
Yeah. With all what you have said there about Richard Frederick and the Labour Party and everything, weren't these were the same things that were being said when he was with the United Workers' Party?
Okay, let me just say something to you. If you think what I'm saying is hypothetical, go back to Richard Frederick's show. You're going to hear him say verbatim. That's the thing I like to bring clips, But I didn't think there would be someone with the audacity to question, challenge, or deny that, because he said it publicly on his show, but you're questioning it, so it means that you want to doubt it.
No, I'm not doubting it. I'm saying all what you have said and what I've been heard before. It has been said over and over again. Let me ask you another question. So with all of this, what you have said, how many votes has that brought to your party?
How many what?
How many votes you think that have brought to your party?
How many
minds you think? How many minds you think you may have changed
if you want to find out, ring the bell.
Ring the bell?
If you want to find out, tell your Prime Minister, ring the bell, and you'll find out. Let me just say something to you, sir. You call my program to complain about how many times I have said, could you just listen for a moment, please? You call my program to complain about how many times you've heard certain things. Do you listen? Your favorite politician that you're defending, how many times do you hear him repeat the same things for the last 10 years? How many times? Can you count? You know, your hypocrisy, you're going to keep your hypocrisy to yourself. Don't bring it here. We don't entertain that here.
Whatever he says, he backs it up with documents on facts.
Well, so am I. Let me just give you a little advice, sir. Let me just give you some information. I have been in politics for over 20 years. I've never been sued. And if anybody dares to sue me right now, I'm prepared to take on the challenge. Because I don't speak idly, and I just don't, tell tales out of school. If I cannot back it up, I don't say it. So you can take what I say, put it in your pipe, and smoke it. So we have another caller online. Caller, please. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. You're having problems with that call. I'm not hearing clearly. Okay, while we try to rectify this call, I just want to ask, that the government, the Prime Minister, who is the Minister of National Security, who is the Prime Minister of this country, begin to investigate the facilitators of crime as described by Kenny Anthony, as described in the impacts report. We have another caller. I'm hoping that this one will go well this time. Caller, good evening.
Yes.
Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Yes, Brother Spider. You see these people in St. Lucia, they're hypocrites. The hypocrites will never stop. These people, the gentleman that called you, he defending somebody that is very wrong. So St. Lucia will never go forward. Meaning, because they're defending, they're defending the wrong things and the wrong people. They don't listen, but that is political hack. You see, you mentioned something a while ago. A lot of people don't. I always say that, honestly speaking. This guy you mentioned that will destroy the Labour Party, and that's what that's why, But the Labour Party don't see that. Up on the ground, I am hearing, this man don't like Labour Party. The man like himself. The people see that, there's so many people that left the Labour Party, left the Labour Party, and they're on ground watching. You ask him to ring the bell, and then he'll see. Because the people see they left the Labour Party, East Cassis, West Cassis, everywhere, and just there, just to listen to the bell rung. But you give him a good, you listen down. If he don't believe, ring the bell, and then they will take it.
Caller, they're not accustomed to the pushback that they're getting now. They're accustomed of just spreading propaganda, telling lies, and nobody objects to it, nobody exposes it, nobody debunks it. But those days are gone. We are going to tell it like it is on this program here, and we're going to expose all the lies and expose all the secrets and debunk the propaganda that they're spreading.
Yeah, what I saw in the Independent, understand, really, that Independent, they put as a Creole. They put as much as a Creole day that was there. From the time I see that, from running the back to understand, this is not Independent. That don't push around. Put people like people that was there doing the thing properly. But obviously, Spider, St. Lucia lost.
Okay, thank you, caller. For the benefit of those who missed it, and for the chagrin of that last caller who does not like the facts, the truth repeated, let me read again what I read earlier to you. That was Richard Frederick making those statements in the House and on television. It is regrettable, just a moment, it is regrettable that we have had a wall-to-wall breakdown of discipline in our country. When people holding high office can impugn others, not only from political platforms, but also from the privileged house, isn't that sending the wrong signal to our very young and impressionable nation? And that is being done by Richard himself and the St. Lucia Labour Party constantly. the individual, I will read further, but I'm going to take this call before I continue. Caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Good evening, Spider. How you doing?
Good evening to you, caller. I'm doing fine.
Great show. Great show.
Thank you.
I want to pick this to the caller before the last. The one who said that Richard Frederick was in UWP, and when it was being said, all kind of nonsense talk. I want to tell the gentleman, in 2016, when UWP came in office, who got rid of Richard Frederick? Who cleaned up the government of St. Lucia? Who purged the, Richard Frederick from the government of St. Lucia?
You know, as a matter of fact, he talked about when Richard was in the UWP, it was the SLP who told us and made all of the accusations about Richard Frederick, you know. The same SLP that has handpicked him now and have him in their bosom. So what? They have forgotten what they said? What they said means nothing now? So he was a criminal when he was with UWP, and with the SLP he's now an angel? Well, I don't buy that, you know, and that has to be exposed, you know.
These are the kind of people that have St. Lucia not moving forward. These are the kind of party hacks, they call them. The party hacks. They don't care what the ministers do. They do not care what the ministers do to St. Lucia. They don't care where St. Lucia has been placed on the map, because those people just cannot understand the meaning of the word politics. They cannot understand it. And if Richard Frederick is not good for our government, he is not good for the government. And all of you all know that he's not good for the government. When he was on the UWP side, you all were giving him blows. Today we have a former prime minister who stood up to Richard Frederick and tell him, sir, I cannot tolerate you in my party if you cannot give me the reason why your visas was taken away from you.
But caller, Sir John Compton tried to tell us. We did not listen. Kenny Anthony made the statement that is the most frightening thing to happen to politics when Richard entered. We did not listen. Stephenson King, I must say, he made one or two little efforts, but apparently, in my opinion, he appears to be compromised, so he had to give in. Okay? Shasney came and did the courageous thing and got rid of Richard Frederick from the United Workers' Party. And now, Philip J. Pierre has handpicked Richard Frederick and placed him in his cabinet. Why? After all what you have told us about that same Richard Frederick, why? Okay? And we are saying that if we're going to have a special prosecutor, there are allegations and accusations about individuals in your own government, facilitate the investigation and let us find out whether there's any veracity to those claims. Okay, so I think we have another caller online. Yes, caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
I'm telling it like it is, Mr. Montoute. Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Montoute,
yes, sir.
are you aware that the police officers have taken industrial action? They're on strike, and that the various police stations are empty? In some cases, information reaching me that the Miku police station only have 2 officers on duty as we speak. Some of them only have 2 or 3 officers, and that the criminals now have a free hand to do what they want, and that our national security is at risk as we speak because of the disrespect by Philip Pierre when it comes to the salary negotiations for the police officers.
Caller, I don't know that is the situation, but I realize from the weekend that something is amiss, something is wrong, and that's why you heard me say earlier, I hope that the police officers are okay, and you know that they're doing fine, because you know that is one group, that is one set of people we can't do without, especially in this kind of climate that exists in our country here today. You know?
It is scary because Heritage, we have a serious crime problem. Only yesterday, a gentleman in the Olio Denver North constituency was murdered. So our murder number, our homicide number is at 10 or 12 this year, only for ready for this year. And then you're hearing that police officers have put down their tools, they have taken industrial action, they're on strike, and that our national security is at risk right now. And then you have some callers calling and talking nonsense.
But caller,
national security crisis.
Caller, talking about
we have a health crisis.
Talking about the police, you know, I'm going to read again what a current sitting minister of government said about the police. He said, "They have not learned the lessons of personal discipline, let alone discretion in pursuance of their duty. The force is so heavily politicized, I suspect that if an officer approaches you, you simply have to flash the right party membership card and they will let you go about your business." Those words were uttered by Richard Frederick El Quapo. Now, what is dangerous about it? This same Richard Frederick sits on a television and publicly waves files to people and tells us that he got those files of confidential information on individuals from the police. He has sat on television, given directives to the city police, given directive to the SSU, and given directive directly to the police commissioner, asking, in fact, dictating to the commissioner what he should do. And coincidentally, I might say, his wishes were actually carried out. That is dangerous. So what is Richard saying? If you flash an SLP membership card, then you can go about your business. So Richard is warned us in advance and is now demonstrating to us that he has corrupted the police force, and the Minister of National Security and Prime Minister of this country has had nothing to say about this. These are the things that are concerning and disturbing, and we have to deal with it. I have a caller on the line, WhatsApp caller on the line. Good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution.
Hi, good evening, Spider.
Good evening.
Spider, there seems to be this idea by Labour Party supporters that Richard Frederick should not be held accountable. There's also that tone from him that he should not be held accountable. It's very obvious that accountability creates a huge amount of discomfort for him. And the new argument is that we keep mentioning his name. Number one, that's one argument. The other one is that people have heard all what we're saying already. Well, I will say two things. Number one, Richard Frederick is a government minister. He is a public official, and as such, his name will be mentioned and continue to be mentioned, and he will be held accountable. If he does not want to be held accountable, get out of our politics, get out of our governance. As a private citizen, I don't care what you do. As long as you are within the laws, I don't care what you do. If you're a private citizen, I don't have to call your name. But as long as you are a government minister, your actions, your behaviors, your decisions you take will be held to public scrutiny. And we will not relent on holding you accountable. Now, his supporters who keep talking about, they have heard this already, they've heard that already. Whether or not you've heard it before, or whether or not it is new, does not invalidate anything we have said, does not invalidate the facts, the documented facts that are in the records of Parliament, that are in the records of videotapes, that are in the record of impacts, that are in the record of the US cables in WikiLeaks, that are documented in the newspapers. Okay? So when they're talking about Richard comes with facts, there are documented facts of his own behavior and the videos to show for it. So this idea that because they've heard it before, it invalidates it is pure hogwash and nonsensical.
Well, Colin, let me just say to you for my part, if I have to repeat it 1,000,000 times until something is done about it, I will repeat. I'll continue to repeat
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Rick Wayne has spoken about Greenberg and Rochamel from the early 2000s or the late 90s.
Yes, well, we lost the caller, unfortunately. Yes, so we have another caller online. Caller, please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Spider.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Spider.
Good evening. Good evening, caller.
You know a little more about laws in St. Lucia than me. Is there a law in St. Lucia that states that if you're in politics or you're a politician, during your political career, you cannot buy a car, you cannot buy property, you cannot buy wealth?
Why would you ask that question? Did you hear that anyway? Did someone say so?
I'm asking you that question.
No, but why would you ask me that question? Did you hear me say so?
Because
no, did you hear me say so?
I didn't. I'm asking a question.
I'm asking you a question. Did you hear me say so?
No, but answer yes or no, Spiders. does that mean...
That's a ridiculous question, and you should know better than that, caller. You should know better. You should know better than that.
Let me ask you how ridiculous it is. You mean to tell me that everybody that enters in politics do not have a penny saved? Most of these people have jobs before they even came into politics.
Caller, if you have a point to make, go ahead and make it. I mean, you're stating the obvious.
Let me tell you, Spider.
You're stating the obvious.
I'm asking you another question.
Yeah, I have a few questions for you.
You mentioned you had a farm. Did you not buy that farm while you were in politics, or you did not buy it?
No, I bought it after politics. And even though I bought it after politics, if you want to know how I came about having that farm, the fact that I was once a public figure, I'm going to go to the full extent to explain to you and to provide you evidence on how I got it. And that is what I'm asking of your colleagues. We have another caller online. Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution.
Hi.
Tell it like it is.
Yeah, let me tell it like it is. Good afternoon. So I'm calling from New Jersey. Are you all hearing me?
I'm hearing you, yes.
Yes. So I am neutral. I am not a partisan person. But all I want is change for my people in St. Lucia. I am tired of seeing my people suffering, and I'm not sticking to the subject that Spider is talking about. I'm speaking of everything. I come to St. Lucia, and the people are starving. The place is deplorable. So I don't understand why Spider is slinging mud to this one, UWP is slinging mud, SLP slinging mud, and both of these parties are the same. They're only there for their pocket.
Okay, can I correct you, please?
What's that?
Can I make a correction?
Yeah,
I'm not slinging mud at anybody. I'm stating some facts that are of concern to me and other people in this country. Now, perhaps since you don't live here, it's not of concern to you, but these are of concern to us, and it does. Wait a moment, let me finish.
And I know you're going to hang up the phone
let me finish. Can you let me? Well, if
that's
you,
what you do.
No. What? I will hang up if you continue to speak over me. Well, I asked you to let me finish. Okay. So I was saying, and if you allow me to, and let me continue saying it. I was saying that perhaps since you don't live in St. Lucia, some of the things I'm talking about are not of concern to you. But the things that I'm talking about are of pertinence in the sense that it affects our livelihood here, it affects our safety, it affects the situation as exists in this country, and has implications for even our economy and our freedom. So that perhaps does not affect you since you don't live here, but it affects some of us, and that is why people like myself are talking about it and will continue to talk about it.
Okay, so can I say something? As much as I hear what you're saying, but I am going back and reiterate that when y'all guys were in power, what did y'all do? The crime was the same. Everything was the same. So how you're figuring out what you're going to do now when you get back in power? All of y'all are the same.
Okay, let me just say to you, if you want to know the difference and you want to know what we're going to do, I invite you to tune in to Sunday's rally, where the United Workers' Party will be presenting some of its candidates, and I'm sure you will hear some of the policies of the United Workers' Party at that forum. If you say that you do not know, it's because you're not listening. Okay? And there is a big difference between the United Workers' Party and the St. Lucia Labour Party. Yes, good evening, caller. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Yeah, Spider, good night, man.
Yes, good night.
Let me be honest with you, no disrespect. The guy who spoke before the lady, that was saying that if you tell her have a car, whatever, he's one of the biggest jackass St. Lucia ever have. The fundamental problem with most St. Lucians, including me, I'm a St. Lucian, we are jealous of ourselves. And when you're jealous of yourself, everything is just messed up. Everything's in a concoction situation. So I say to St. Lucian, put the mind, be mindset, observe what's happening. We are not stupid. And even the Bible says somewhere that my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So, I think your program is good. I like to learn. I like to hear. I don't listen, but I hear things. When you listen, you're fooled. But when you hear, it's registered. So if people who don't have an ear, let them hear. That's how it is, man, because, you know, it's messed up.
You see, it's very disconcerting because the SLP, you know, spent all their time making false accusations and allegations, and now the truth is coming out, but it's about them. They have a discomfort with it. You know, I want to ask, why is it that Richard Frederick is only loyal to Richard Frederick? And perhaps you have not realized that. No leader wanted him, and now the present Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, is stuck with him. He's stuck with him like a tick on a mongrel. And you know, and you see, and we have to ask ourselves why. We have to ask ourselves why. And at the end of the day, Richard has a certain modus operandi, and what many of you are discounting is the fact that I've worked with Richard. And I know the nature of the man. So when I say what I say, I know what I'm saying, but not only about my judgment, I am stating facts, and I'm repeating statements that have been made by his own colleagues. So if you don't like to hear it, if you cannot deal with it, that is your problem. Imagine, Dr. Anthony once led St. Lucia. He was Prime Minister for at least 15 years. Philip J. Pierre was his deputy. And Philip J. Pierre claimed that he was the most readied because he was deputy to Kenny Anthony and understudied Kenny Anthony. But today, he's so loyal to Richard Frederick that he will ditch Kenny Anthony for Richard Frederick. You haven't asked yourself why? These are the things you all must study on. Anyway, we have a call on WhatsApp. Caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution and tell it like it is.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I saw you put up some little houses earlier. And these are the houses built by the, what do you call himself? He's the hardest working politician in the land.
I'm not hearing you clearly, but I'm trying to follow you. Go ahead.
Yeah, these are the houses, Let's see the picture. And these are the houses, I don't know if you long ago around the, by where they have the Grizzly bus stand, they used to call the Hollywood. That's in the time of Compton.
Mm-hmm.
You remember all those little houses they had there, and then Mr. Compton cleared off the whole area, and he built up the CDCs and tried to improve the area. And in this modern time now, we have Richard Frederick. All around Castries, all between the CDCs, down from the city council, even on the side by the Anglican school, by the Grizzly bus stand, all in the same area where Compton took out these little houses. In this modern day, he is bringing back Bollywood. Compton took out Hollywood, but he's bringing back Bollywood. And he even go as far as going down by the, what do you call it, the House of Assembly, and build those little things there, those little huts there, with his big picture on the side. And I don't know, where is he from? Is he from Canaries? Honestly, one of these places, because when you come about developing Canaries...
there are people from Canaries, and those places are really nice, big houses. I mean, people build what they can afford. But when you have a housing minister who has no vision, and the best that he can do is to build plywood malls in your city, and to build shacks all over the place, all over the city, and to build things like that, where the Prime Minister himself had to admit that those are not houses for people, you know. That's
because in most of these little things, they don't have a sink, they don't have running water, there's no toilet. So if you're in any one of these things, you have to close it, I think, run to the city council to use a toilet or whatever, and go back to your business. And Castries and the surrounding little places like New Village, Graveyard, Rosie, all these little areas are in a mess. So Castries service in a mess. Castries need a facelift. And I honestly believe there shouldn't be any representative from Castries. Not UWP, not SLP. Castries should be run by a male. Somebody who's competent, that could have a plan for Castries. Because I see tourists in town, all by the market there. The place is dirty. There are people sleeping on the ground. They have stray dogs. But they have stray dogs all in the condition pack. I don't know if they have a license to come to town. People sitting down around the Castries is actually dirty, filthy. Castries needs to clean up. And they say they're building a multi-million-dollar pot to bring tourists in. As soon as you come down, all the gutters are dirty, the streets are dirty. They take out dirt in the garbage, in the gutters. They put them in little plastic containers lying in all the streets. This place needs a cleanup. And Richard Frederick is not doing a good job. Thank you.
All right, thank you, caller. You know, I think that was our last caller because we have pretty much run out of time. I just want to say this. You know, you have a member of cabinet, a parliamentarian, who goes on a talk show and accuses people of being thugs and criminals without providing any evidence, mind you, accuses, because his opponent's mom, he attacks his opponent's mom and accuses her of being implicated in a murder, and nothing is said by his government, nothing is said by the Prime Minister who handpicked him and placed him in the Prime Minister's office. Nothing is said by him as Minister of National Security. The Commissioner of Police have not seen it fitting to call him in for questioning, and if he has done it, we should know that we should be told so that people can be satisfied, that people cannot just come and make those statements, castigate people, make allegations, accuse people with impunity like he has done. The same man who's talking about, people cannot use their high purchase to do things like that with impunity. He is doing it. And you want us to remain quiet. You want me to accept that, like the rest of the St. Lucia Labour Party members. You have all the ministers who are facilitating that kind of behavior, who accepts it, who condones it, and who encourages it. And the Prime Minister who has handpicked Richard Frederick for that purpose. And we have no problem with that. And then we complain about the kind of crime situation that is existing in this country today. And you expect that same government will have the authority or legitimacy to take a stand, to say anything and to do anything. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth must be brought to light. On this program, I'm not going to water down or sugarcoat anything. I will tell it like it is. Whether you like it or not, if you cannot face the truth, here is not the place for you. If you want to know the truth, tune to Like It Is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for having tuned to Like It Is. I'm sure you are gaining insights as to what passes for government, and I will do my best to bring to you the prospect that you have for a replacement, the United Workers' Party. And when they come here, you will have an opportunity to question them and to ask of them what it is they are going to do that is better than what passes as government today. So I want to thank all of you who are listening on Hot 7 TV, those also on watching, those of you who are listening on Kiss FM, those of you on Hot Caribbean TV, those of you who are live on Facebook, and I want to thank those of you who called in, and I want to thank my usual listeners from the diaspora. And I want to remind you that on Thursday you can tune in for Meet the Opposition on Rev Up St. Lucia with Nancy Charles. And of course, on Sunday, it's a big day, Sunday, we invite you to Lakai, where the team will begin to unfold even further for you to see who it is that will come to bring St. Lucia back on a path of decency, back on a path of progress, back on a path of development. I want to thank all of you. I want to wish all of you a good night, and join me again next Monday for another program of Like It Is, where I will be telling it like it is, like it or not. Thank you very much.